All right, good morning. Thank you for coming. This is an awesome turnaround. Typically this early in the progression of the system, they're lucky to get 20 or 30 people to come to training. So I'm really excited to see so many people here. And as she mentioned, I have been in the business. I've been with the company since 1982. I've started in the book publishing plan. How many of you remember the books? Good, many of you. We used to pull the data. We'd print the books, we'd bind them, we'd ship them on a truck, and you'd get your information that was about a week old, and then you'd carry your Bible around for the next week with all your information, and then we go through the process again. That wouldn't work in today's market, in the world we live in, right? You need access to your data anywhere, anytime. And that's what Matrix really brings to you, along with speed, is the fact that if you have an internet connection, you can get to your MLS data, whether it be from a Mac or a PC, using any browser, using your iPad, your tablet, even your telephone. If you have an internet connection, you can get to the MLS. I've had people in classes that have had a Kindle Fire, one of those books, and they could access the internet. The gentleman that introduced me to the system was running it on his Wii at home, his gaming device. So if you have an internet connection, no matter what browser it uses, you'll be able to access your data. When you first log into Matrix, this is a screen you're going to see. Yours isn't going to look exactly like mine because it's totally configurable. If I want this device over here or down here, I can move them around, put them the way that I want them. If there's a device that I don't use, I can minimize it so it doesn't take up so much space, or I can actually throw it away, get rid of it. It's off my screen. If I ever need that device back again, all I need to do is go to the additional gadget, maximize it, there's my device, I can pull it back out again, and the gadget's back on my screen. Now, however you design your screen, that's the way it's going to be anytime you access a system. So you may want to set up your screen, keeping in mind the smallest device that you use. We're going to walk through all the gadgets here on the home page. The first one up here, the news and alerts. From time to time, you're going to see a message pop up when you log in. Originally, there's going to be two buttons at the bottom. There's going to be an I've read this, or I'll read it later. If you say I read it later, it'll come back and remind you that you haven't read it. If you said I've read this, it'll go away. It'll store itself over here on the side so you can refer to it anytime you want. This gadget cannot be moved. It will always be up on the top left corner of your screen. Hot sheets. How many of you use the hot sheets today? Not that many, and I'm not surprised. The hot sheets in your legacy system, in your Tempo, in your Fusion system are kind of broad. You can look at an MLS area. Whereas in Matrix, you can configure it however you want, whatever your market is. You can come down here to customize your hot sheet. You can customize it. We'll go ahead and customize my residential. And now I can set it up for whatever I'm interested in, whether it be a certain zip code or a city or a subdivision, or maybe a price range of properties. Or I can even go as far as going into the map, and I can totally customize it. Say, this is the part of town that I work in. That's the information I want reflected in my hot sheet. My screen's a little... Let me zoom my screen in a little bit. So now that I've got my hot sheet configured, when I come back to my home page and run my residential hot sheet, it's going to run just for the information that I'm interested in. I can run it for the last 24 hours, today since midnight, 3 days back, 7 days back. Let's go ahead and run it for 3 days back. We'll run my residential hot sheet. And it's going to show me any new listings, any back on markets, any price changes, but just for the specific area that I've designed. So I'm not getting all of the MLS. I'm getting just the information I want, which makes it a lot more usable for you. You can also go and add additional hot sheets. You can have up to 8 additional ones. So maybe with one you're looking at a certain subdivision. And another hot sheet you may be looking at luxury homes or waterfront property. So however you have your hot sheet set up, you can have individual hot sheets for the different markets that you're interested in. Because the hot sheet functionality is more usable in Matrix, we've actually given you another hot sheet called the Market Watch. It works exactly the same as your hot sheet works, except it gives you a more graphical view, and it separates the different items. So there you can look at just your price increases. So again, it functions exactly the same as the hot sheet, except it looks different. I like this gadget up here too, because this is a pseudo hot sheet, I'll call it. You can, when you're in the system, you can save any search that you want with whatever criteria you want. And you'll have an option to save it as a favorite on your home page. When you save it as a favorite, you can come down here in the morning when you get in, you can click on one of your areas that you're interested in, maybe your affordable OKC area. I click on that, and it's going to show me all the listings that match that criteria. But I can use it if I want as a type of hot sheet. Because if I come down here and I update all, it's going to run all the searches that I have up there. And it's going to show me how many new listings there's been since I looked at that area last. Now you'll notice the OKC Affordable has 0 new matches. That's because we just looked at everything that matches. But my market hot sheet has 16 new. If I click there, it's going to show me just the 16 new listings, which is pretty much what you're really interested in, what's new in the market. If I click on my market, of course, it'll show me everything that matches the criteria. So again, it functions like a hot sheet. It's only going to designate the new listings. It's not going to highlight the price changes, that type of thing, but it's going to show you everything new that's come on the market. My stats. The stats inside of Matrix, I think, are phenomenal. They're really, really going to help you and really make you look professional to your clients, because you can go run statistics in the system. You can create your own statistics and at any point get up to the minute statistics. We're going to go through the statistics in just a few moments, but for right now I want to point out you can save any of the ones that you've customized. You'll have an option to save it to your home page, and then you can go refer to it anytime you want and get real-time statistics. My carts is going to be a new feature for you. You have a cart for yourself, and you have a cart for each one of your clients, your customers. As soon as you enter a contact into your system, it automatically creates a cart for them. A cart is nothing more than a repository of listings. What you can use the carts for, let's say you're working with a client, you're setting up a complex search, or you're doing a CMA or something, and you come across this listing that would be really good for one of your other clients, so you really want to research it, you can quickly take that listing, put it in their cart, go back to what you're doing, and then later go back and refer to it. Another interesting thing people are using the carts for is every time they print out driving directions, every time they take a client to see properties, they'll take those properties and they'll put it in that client's cart. And then a week or two later, they can sit down with their client and go, okay, here's the 15, 20 houses that we've been to see. Look how many of them are now off the market. If you like a property, you need to make a quicker decision or you're going to miss your opportunity. Because once you put something in the cart, it stays in the cart until you remove it. Your clients have no idea about the cart. This is only for you to set listings aside tied to a client. Under My Listings, if I had listings, you'd see your inventory links. You'd have a link for your active listings, your pending listings, your sold listings, your office listings. So it's a quick way to get to your listing. Under the additional, we talked about that. That's where if there's any gadget that you've thrown away or you can't find on your screen, it's going to be underneath the additional gadget. The recent used contacts up here at the top. What the system does is if you do something for a contact, you save a search, you send them an email, that type of thing, it's going to automatically put them in your recent used contacts. The system assumes if you've done something for a contact, you're probably going to do something else. So it gives you a quick link here where you can get to your contact. I could always come up here to my Matrix contacts and look at my 100 contacts and find Jessica and then open up her details. This is just a quick link to the ones that you're actively working with. Recent portal visitors. What the portal is your client's view of the information that you've shared with them. So one of your clients goes to their portal, it's going to tell you who it was, when they went there, if they saved any favorites, any possibilities, if they've left any notes. So the clients that you see in your recent portal visitors, those are the ones that are really interested in buying a property, the ones that are actively looking at the information you've shared with them. We're going to talk about the portal throughout the class, so let's go ahead and take a look at what the portal looks like. This is your client's view of the information that you've shared with them. We're now the client. And on this page, it puts together all of the information that you've been working with them on. For example, in this gadget up here, it shows you your direct emails and reports. This is where you've selected a couple listings and you've sent them an email. This is also where if you've done driving directions for them and you emailed it to them, it's going to show up in here. Any statistics you've sent them. So what's really nice about that gadget is presently they have to go to their personal email. They need to find your name. They need to click on the link. And then that's going to show them the information you emailed them. If it's not the right one, they've got to go back into their personal email, look for your name again between all the jokes and the spam and everything, find your name, click on it again until they find it. That's not the case with Matrix. All they need to do is go to the portal and everything's going to be together with them. Your client has the ability to put notes on a listing, maybe something they like about the property, maybe a question for you. Their notes get stored here in the recent notes, so it keeps it in front of them all the time, keeps them excited about the properties. Your clients can save favorites, possibilities, and reject listings. And they go in the different little clusters up here so they can get to the ones that they really like or the ones that they're thinking about. And also down here in this gadget, it's showing them their favorites. It's keeping their favorites in front of them. And as you can see here, it's showing them that property is no longer for sale. So they're seeing the houses that they're excited about, the houses they like, and they're seeing that they missed their opportunity. So I think it's a nice little gadget to keep them excited about the houses. Now when you give your client access to their portal, and by giving them access, all you have to do is send them an email, set up a search for them, whatever, and they're immediately going to have access to the portal. When you give them access to the portal, you're giving them access to the MLS. Now I see some eyes going, whoa, wait a minute. If they have access to the MLS, they don't need me. It's giving them access to client-friendly information. The same type of information they can get on Realtor.com, broker sites, all the other sites. But the big difference between the access that you're giving them compared to those other sites is they're looking at the live data. This has probably never happened to any of you guys, but going across the country, I've heard a couple people tell me that they get a call from their client. They want to see 123 Main Street. The agent looks it up in the MLS, and 123 Main Street sold a month ago. And the client tells, oh no, you're wrong. I'm on the internet. I'm on Zillow. It's right here. Oh, that has happened to a couple of you? That won't happen if they're using the search that you provide them on the portal. Because when they pull up a listing, if the price changed 2 minutes ago, they're going to see the current price. If they run a search and a listing was sold a day ago, it's not going to show up in their results. They're looking at the live data. That's how you really can engage your clients to use your portal rather than going out on the internet. Your client also has the ability to save their own searches. So if they're looking and they're doing searches and they find another little pocket that they're interested in, not the pocket that they gave to you and you set up the search, they can save that and refer back to it. You, the agent, know in their client record that they're looking at that other area. So you're kept up to date with what they're doing. And down here in the auto search section, this is where any of your auto notifications, any searches that you've set up that are working for you, they can get to that information at any time and see what listings are in that. Now, when they get an email, it's going to go to their normal email address. When they click on the link in their email, it's going to open up the portal showing them the listings that were included in that email. They can look at the listings different ways. This is the split view where they can see the properties on the map and they can see information. When they hover over any of the listings, it's going to show them where the property is located. So it's a nice view, especially if they're on their desktop. But they have ability to look at all kinds of different views. There's all different types of displays. If they're accessing their portal on their phone, they may want the single view. It's easier to see on their phone. Whatever device, whatever report they use on that device, the next time they go to their portal from that device, the system's going to know which display to show them on the phone and which display to show them if they're using their desktop. Your client has abilities like we talked about. If they like a property, to save it as a favorite, a possibility. If they don't like a property at all, they can get rid of it so they don't keep seeing it in their search results. So they really can work with the information that you've shared with them. Now this is important. Every email you send out of the system goes to a portal. If they're one of your contacts, if they're in your contact database, a client, someone you've saved in Matrix, they'll have all the functionality we just talked about. If they're not one of your contacts, just someone you randomly sent some listings to, they'll be able to only see those listings. They won't have the full functionality, but they'll be able to see those listings in all these different views. And there's a customer full view, a thumbnail view, so they have access to all the information that's pertinent to them. So again, this is the portal. This is your client's view of the information that you're working with them on. Going back to the system, the next gadget is Concierge. You're all familiar, hopefully, with auto notification, where you go in, your client tells you they're interested in this part of town, this many bedrooms, this price range, all of that information. You set up an auto notification search. You tell the search how often to run and to send that information to your clients. That's auto notification. Concierge is a new optional feature when saving an auto notification search. For example, if you set up an auto notification search and your client, for example, has made it very clear to you that they think the ugliest thing they've ever seen is a house with a blue roof. There's no way in your MLS, I don't think you have a field color of roof, so there's no way you can pull those listings out. So if a house happens to have a blue roof, they're going to get that listing and think you don't pay any attention to them. What Concierge does is it puts you in the middle of an auto notification search. The search will run constantly, and when it finds any matches, it's going to notify you, the agent, and give you the ability to then view the listing, see if it meets the criteria. Blue roof's kind of an off the wall, but you know there's times that you want to look at the listings and determine if you want to send it to your client. If that's the case, you can set it up in concierge mode. It'll notify you when listings match your client's information. If you click on it, it'll show you those listings. You can look at those listings in different views. So you can look at the color of the roof or whatever information you're trying to weed out. And then you can come in and you can say, this one and this one have a blue roof. I don't want my client to see these. I can reject those. Those listings will never go to my client. And now I could go in and I could approve the rest, and the rest would then be emailed to my client. So it's a way, it gives you more control to give you more service to the clients that you need to do that with. There's actually an account up in Canada that every one of their searches, they don't have a choice. They're all in concierge mode. They have to review the listings before they send them. The board feels that they're spamming their clients. If they haven't seen the information that they're sending their client, you folks have a choice. You may never use concierge. If you don't, you won't have this gadget. So any of you out there that are looking for this gadget and can't find it, you won't have it until you set up at least one search in concierge mode. And you may have 25 searches set up in auto notification and maybe only one in concierge mode. So it's an optional feature you can use if you feel you need to. And then down here under external links, these are just a bunch of links that the boards put out there that if you click on any of them, it'll open a new browser window. It'll take you to that website. So you don't have to go open a blank browser, search for the URL, and go to the site. You can quickly come here and go to announce my listing, that type of thing. So that's your gadgets on your home page. Again, however you have this set up, that's the way it's going to be on any device that you log into your account. Next thing we're going to do is walk through all of the functions across the top in the menu bar. This is the menu bar. Everything above where I'm moving my cursor is the menu bar. That's going to be available to you no matter where you're at in Matrix. It'll be across the top. This information will change depending on what part of the system you're in. For example, we're on the home page, you have your home page. Your next link over is search. This is where all of your searches are located. Whether it be a property search, whether you're searching for an agent, you need their phone number. You're searching for an office, you need their address. If I click on more, this is also where your history search, your open house search. So any type of searching that you do, you'll go to the search tab. We're going to come back to search after break because that's where all the neat functionality is. That's where all your emailing, printing, your auto notifications, that type of thing. I always save that till after break because half of you otherwise, if I teach you all the fun stuff now, all the good stuff, you'll go to break and you won't come back. This way, we'll go through the boring stuff, but the information that you need to know about what's available in the system first. We'll take a little break so you can get refreshed, and then we'll come back and really dig into the system. Stats, I was mentioning before, to me I think the stats are just phenomenal in Matrix. So many uses. You folks as seasoned agents, you know off the top of your mind when you pull in a subdivision or a certain area, you know the houses are running 200,000 and the market's doing really well. The prices are going up. And if you pull into another location, you'll know that the houses there sell for like 150 and the houses really aren't moving. You'll know that from your experience. But what happens when you get a client that all of a sudden wants to live somewhere that you're not familiar with, a different part of town? You can use the stats to educate yourself on that part of town. Or for new members that don't have that information, you can use it to educate yourself. I'm just going to pick on one here, historic sales price trends. I'm going to generate, and there it just generated real-time statistics on the entire MLS. 203,000 listings. If you had done that on your existing system, you could have gone and made a cup of coffee, maybe made a phone call, come back in and that little wheel would still be turning, right? That's how fast Matrix is. I'm not on any special internet. This isn't a PowerPoint. This is the experience that you're going to have from any internet connection you have. Not only do you get the data so you can see the Oklahoma market's really increasing, but you also have the live data. This is the data that went into actually producing that fancy graph. I can export the data so I can use it outside of the system. Maybe I want to do my own graphs inside of Excel, or I want to do some more statistical information so I can get it out of the system to do whatever I want with. I can also customize it. So right now we're looking at the median sale price. So let's go in and customize here and say I don't want the last 10 years. I only want the past 5 years. And maybe I want to add a statistic. I can come down here to the advanced options and I can say also show me the list price median. And I don't want that in a column format. I want it in a smooth line. I can generate it, and I can generate my own statistics. So you can go in and alter the statistics. I can go in here and I can save it. If this is something I want to keep on top of all the time, I can save it, and I can save it as my own preset. So when I go in there, I don't have to go in and say 5 years. I don't have to go in and add the list price. It's all already there for me. This is also where if this is one that you want on your home page, so you can click on it once a week or once a month and find out up to the minute statistics, you can save it onto your home page. But I've just been going through and showing you the entire MLS, mainly to show you how fast the system is. But you guys aren't really interested in the entire MLS. You have a certain market that you're interested in. So you can set it up to look for a certain subdivision, a certain area, again, price of homes. Or you can actually go in and define for yourself, or let's say my client told me that they want to live in this part of town. So I can go in there and I can generate that statistic again on just that part of town. I have all these different ones I can generate. If your client is asking for this information, make sure you wait 5 or 6 hours so they think you've done a lot of work getting the information for them. But you can, as you can see, very quickly go in and generate whichever statistic you want, and you have the ability then to email or print it. And if you email or print, it's going to ask you, do you also want to include the data? So it really can make your clients see how much information you have available, and it can educate you if you're going into an area that you're not familiar with. So anyway, that's the statistics. Under My Matrix is your heart of the system, where your clients are, where your saved searches are, where your settings are, where you've configured the system. So we're going to come back to My Matrix. We're going to real quick run through the rest of these. Your Realist tax you're familiar with. This will take you into the Corelogic Realist tax product where you can do property searches rather than MLS listing searches. Under links, there's a bunch of links that link you out to other accounts, other websites that you can get to that the boards put out there. Under finance, there's a lot of financial calculators, amortization charts, calculators, estimated net proceeds, buyer's closing costs. So just some information that we've put out there that you can link out to. Input. You will not have an input tab at this time. You'll have to continue using Tempo or Fusion to input or edit listings from now till the August time frame. Everything else in the system, when you leave here today, you'll have access to the system and you'll be able to use it as your primary system. And I encourage you to, so that come August, you're not all of a sudden trying to figure out how to use the system. You can go in the system today, use it as your primary system. You can set up searches, you can email from the system. The data in the system is being pulled over from your current system. So it's going to be like 15 minutes behind your Tempo or your Fusion system. But the listings are constantly being brought over. But between now and August, you're going to have to edit or input listings in the other systems, but everything else you can do in Matrix. I'm going to show you input because, I'm going to have to use a different system. Let me grab another system real quick. I just want to mainly show you how it looks because it's kind of a nice setup compared to what you have today. So we'll go into Add Edit. And your input screen is going to be set up more like your forms that you have today that you fill out, the paper forms, your property profiles, your listing forms, whatever you call them. When you go into Add Edit, it's going to ask you which property type, and you'll be able to auto-populate from tax, so you'll be able to bring in your information from the tax record without having to re-enter it. You'll be able to fill from an existing listing. So let's say you have a listing for sale and your client comes to you and they say, you know, it's not moving quick enough. I want to see if we can get a renter in there until it sells. You can go in and you can copy the information from your residential listing into your lease listing so you don't have to retype everything. Or you can start with a blank listing. The only time you would really do that is if you're the property's so new it doesn't even have a tax record. But we'll just jump into a blank listing because I just want to show you the way it's laid out. It's laid out in more of a form across your screen rather than a tabular just going down the side. And it makes it nice to get to information because if you want to jump to the remarks, you don't have to scroll all the way down to the bottom and find them. You can jump to the different sections. The other thing that Matrix gives you is under status, it allows you to save a listing as active or incomplete. I would suggest you save all listings as incomplete because when they're in the incomplete mode, you can add your photos, your attachments to the listing before anyone else sees them. You're the only one that can see the listing, so you can upload your information, get your pictures organized, and then come back and make it active. And when you make it active, the first time anyone sees it, all of your media will be there. All of your pictures will be there. So the first time anyone sees it, the agents see it, the clients see it on their portals, the third-party vendors come in and pull the data, all your information will be there. When you go to upload your photos, that type of thing, it's going to allow you to upload all of them at once. You won't have to upload them one at a time. You can select all of your pictures and upload them at the same time. So there's some really nice features of the Add Edit in Matrix. Again, you will not be able to see Add Edit. You won't have a link up here at the top until cutoff, which is in the August time frame. But during these months, you can use everything else in the system as your primary system. Under market reports, this is where the production and inventory reports are. You're going to see different links depending on your access. If you're an agent, you won't have access to the office production, that type of thing. So this is where you go to see any of your market reports. Under help, there's some help information that's out here. The board's going to add more information so you have access to it. And I just want to show you mobile real quick. In the mobile mode, if you go to Matrix on a small device, such as your phone, it's going to know that it's a small device, and it's going to give you a mobile version that's easier to use on your small device. There's two things I want to point out. You see my Concierge here and everything else. I can do anything I want from here. Two main things I want to point out is on the mobile mode, on your phone, you have access to the speed bar. I'm going to show you what the speed bar is at the end of class, so you'll have to wait to see it. But I want you to be aware that it's on your mobile device. Also down here at the bottom left, you've got a link to the full site. If you click on that link on your small device, it's going to give you the entire MLS. So you'll be able to do anything you need to do in the system from your phone. When we first acquired the Matrix system, you know the sales guys, they tell you what I just told you. You can do anything you want. It's going to work just fine until you go in to try to do it. So I had to see for myself. I entered an entire listing on my telephone. It wasn't fun. There was a lot of zooming and scrolling and everything else. But it just shows you you can do whatever you need to from any device that you're using. Okay, let's go back to My Matrix. Under My Matrix, again, this is your information. It's where all of your contacts, your searches, your settings, the way you have the system set up for yourself. First one we come to is contacts. This is where all of your contacts are. When you go into the system, you're going to see all of your contacts came over from your current system. You don't have to re-enter all of that information. We brought that over for you. Under contacts, if you click on any of your contacts, it's going to show you all the links for your contact. If you have a new contact in there, they won't have any links. But here's all the information I have for Jessica. Here's her portal activity. It tells me when she's gone to her portal, what she's done, if she's saved any favorites, and I can look at the favorites. If she's added a note, it shows you all the information that she's done on her portal. Portal searches are any searches that she has set up. Like I told you, your client can run their own searches and they can save that information. You know right here what they're looking at, what the price range is, all the information. So you know what they're doing on their portal. Auto emails are the auto emails that you have set up for them, whether they're concierge or regular auto email. And you can refer to it, you can change the settings, you can look at the criteria, the results, you can look at them on the portal, so you can work with your auto emails right from here. If you've done any CMAs for that client, you can get to the CMA from here. So it takes everything you've done for the client and puts it in one place. And sent email is going to show you all the emails that you've sent to the client. So you no longer have to copy yourself if you don't want to on every email. Have it go to your primary email address and then have to sort it out into folders depending on the client. Because if your client ever calls wondering about an email, wants to talk about an email, you can come in here to the sent email and you can open up the email right from here and refer to it. You can copy yourself on the emails if you want, but it's just a way for you to get to it easily. And as I said, as soon as you put a contact or a client in your database, it's going to set up a portal and a cart for them. There's nothing you need to do. Next one's My Listings. This is your listing inventory where you can get to your incoming listings, your active listings, your office listings, that type of thing. I do want to show you one thing in here that you'll be interesting more when the cutover takes place, but it's kind of hidden. I just want to kind of point it out. There's hit counters in here. If I had listings under the hit counters, it's going to show me statistical information for all of my listings. How many portals is it out on? How many emails has it gone out on? How many people have it saved as favorites? That type of thing. So it's some nice statistical information that's showing you how much your listing's being viewed, that type of thing. Good information to share with your client to show them how much exposure their listing's getting or not getting. If the price isn't set right, if you feel the price isn't right, you can use that to justify they're not getting the attention they should. Under my matrix, we're going to skip over my information. My CMAs would take you to any CMAs that you've done in Matrix, so you can take a look at them. Sent email. This is all of the emails that you've sent out of the system, whether they were to a client or it's just someone's random email address. So every email's been in here. What you guys seem to like is this column over here. It tells you when or if that client ever opened that email. So you'll be able to see if there's a client or a person that you're emailing that's not opening their emails, they're really just kicking tires, they're really not interested, or maybe you have a bad email address. Portal greeting. On the portal, if you send out a greeting, the next time your client goes to the portal, it's going to open up here at the top. It's a good way to let your clients know when you're going on vacation, that type of thing. Or any sort of message you want to send. You may want to send a message because you just got a $1 million property and you want to show them how good you are. Or maybe you want to email your mother and show her your name on that $1 million listing. This is a way that you can get the information out to your clients. One thing important with searches, there's two kinds of searches in Matrix. There's just a saved search, which is sitting there waiting for you to run at any time. And then there's an auto email search, the ones that you have working for you. In Matrix, it puts them in two separate buckets. It puts your saved searches in one place and your auto emails in another place. So if you're looking for a search, it's going to be in one of those two locations. Again, a saved search is just sitting in Matrix so you can go in and run it whenever you'd like. And auto email are the ones that are working for you. We're going to bring over this week your saved searches, the auto notification searches that you have in your Fusion and your Tempo 5 system. We're going to bring them over for you. We're not going to turn them on. We're just going to bring them over so you don't have to put all that information in again. If we turned them on, all of a sudden your clients would be getting emails from two different systems. So when you're ready to start using Matrix, you'll need to go to your saved searches and turn them into an auto notification and turn them off in the other system. When that function's available, the board will let you know with your message of the day, the one that pops up, they'll let you know it's available, and they'll have a document that'll show you how easy it is to turn them on. So I just want to point out, once your searches come over, again, you can use the system as your primary system, but you'll need to turn those searches on if you want the notifications to start coming out of Matrix and turn them off in the old system. And again, they'll be under saved searches. Auto emails will be anything new that you set up. And again, I encourage you, especially with your new clients, don't set them up in Tempo or Fusion. Set them up in Matrix. Get them started in Matrix so you don't have to worry about converting them going down the road. The last thing we have under my matrix is settings. This is where your information is. Under the information, this is the information that came over from your member record, came over from your current system. Some of these fields you're going to be available that you can go in and change. Let's say you have a special cell phone number for your clients. The board doesn't have it in your membership record. This is something specific you want on your portal and your emails to your clients, that type of thing. You can go in and change that information so that it'll appear within Matrix. It will not change your contact information in your membership system. So if you do get a new phone number, you'll have to contact the board by whatever means you do today to change your information. But you can change your information in Matrix to something different than the board has. We've given you some extra fields, tagline, additional information. You can put anything you want in there. And it's become more clear the information that you have in here is going to be the information that's available for you to put on your mobile header and your portal information. And that'll become clear in just a minute. Header and footer. This is for on your portal, the header that goes across the top of your portal. You all already have a header set up. You'll automatically use one of these templates. I believe it's this template. Right now, when you're in Matrix, if you go to your portal, you'll have a header. It'll have your name, it'll have your phone numbers, that type of thing. You have the ability to pick some different templates if you want it to look a little different. But you also have the ability, if you want to upload your own custom header. When I go in to upload my own, here's where I have the one that I uploaded. It tells you right here the dimensions for the image that you're going to upload. If you don't know how to do something like this, if you know a 12-year-old, they do. So get with your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, and see if they can help you. From what I understand, it's very easy to create something like this. If you know what you're doing, it'll take you 10-15 minutes to do it, so maybe someone in your office or someone you know knows how to do it. You don't have to upload your own. You can use the system template. It's already set up for you. But keep in mind, every email that goes out of the system goes to a portal. So it's some nice advertising space for you. Not only can you upload a header for your portal, but you can upload a print header and footer. So that when you go to print reports, you'll have the option, do you want to include your header? Going back in, the next one is the mobile header. This is if your clients go to their portal on a mobile device. What's going to be across the top? When you click on any of these fields, it's only going to show you the information that you have under information. So if there's something you want on your mobile header that's not here, you'll need to go back to information. You'll need to put that information in, and then it'll be available in the drop-down. Your CMA cover sheet. This is if you do a CMA, what's going to appear on the cover sheet, so you can put the information in. Portal information. Your portal information appears over here on your portal. So whatever you put in, this information will show up there. Again, it's only the information that's stored under information. So if there's something else you want on your portal, you'll need to go back to information, enter it, and then it'll be available in the drop-down. And your email signature is pretty self-explanatory. This is what's going to go on the bottom of any email that you send out of the system. You can add pictures, you can change the font, you can change the size, so you can design what your email signature is going to be. Going back to my Matrix settings, also located under here are speed bar shortcuts. I can't show you that right now because you don't even know what the speed bar is at this time, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Team settings. Under team settings, you have the ability to share your access with anyone else in your office. For example, if you're going on vacation and you want to give someone else access so they can work with your clients while you're on that cruise and don't have access to your cell phone, you can give them permission to work on your behalf. Or maybe you have an assistant, or maybe you work as a team with someone. You can come in here, you can put their information in and give them permission to access your information. They'll log into the system using their own information, and then they'll come up here to their name, they'll click on it, and it'll give them your name. They can click on it and have access to your information. So they can change your searches for your clients. They can change your listings if they get an offer that's accepted, that type of information. So anything you can do, they can do. And when you get back from vacation or for any reason you don't want it anymore, you can come in and delete them and they won't have access anymore. Under my Matrix settings again, here you can also go in and set up your hot sheets. We talked about on the home page you can add additional hot sheets for yourself for different market areas. You can add up to 8 of them. Here's where you can go in and also set them up. Custom displays. When you go to results and you're looking at listings, that's your display. The board has the single line set up the way you're used to seeing it today, but if you want a different display, if there's different information you want to see on your results, you can go in here and add your own. So we'll come in here to add. On the left-hand side, these are all the fields you're allowed to add to a display. On the right-hand side are the ones that you have on the display you want to set up. So if I come down here and I want to put in the MLS number, I can move over the MLS number. And maybe then if I want the address, I can come up here, find the street address, I guess it's under here. Street address, I can move that over. And I'm just going to go and I'm going to grab a bunch of fields here and move them over to the other side. I can put them in the order I want. If I want the acres up here, I can set them up. So what I'm doing is I'm designing my own custom display that when I'm looking at listings, I can see these fields in this order. And I can go in here and I'll just name this morning so we can see this ugly display when we go in and look at results. So I'll save that, and now when I'm going and I'm looking at listings, I'm going to have that display that I can bring up and see those fields in that order. So maybe when you're looking at waterfront properties, you want to see certain fields for waterfront. Or when you're looking at sold listings, you want to see certain fields. So you can set up numerous displays if you'd like, and then you'll have them available when you're looking at results. Your custom exports works exactly the same as your custom displays. Here's the fields you're allowed to export. Here would be the ones that I moved over that I want to export and the order I want to export them. So when I'm looking at listings, if I want to get the data out of the system so I can use it in another application, that's how I can do that. What a cross-property search is, if I'm searching a certain subdivision or a shape I've drawn on the map, I want to know everything that's available, whether it be a residential or a multifamily or lease. I want to know all the properties that match my criteria. that you would use the cross property search for. All right, let's go into residential. When you hover over residential, you'll notice over to the side, you've got two different templates. The one is the quick, and the other one is create your own. The quick is one that the board's designed. They have the fields on there that you typically search on. If you go and you hover over the create your own, it's just going to have the status, and it will have the map search here. Both of these templates, you can add whatever fields you want. So the board's established this one, but I can add additional fields at the bottom. So if I need an additional field for a certain search, or there's a field that I use all the time, I can come down here to add a remove, and here are all the fields you're allowed to search on. Here are the fields that you've added to your screen. Like I have pool yes, no on there. I'm going to remove it. And now when you look at my quick search, the quick search I'm going to see when I log in and go to any device that I'm on, I'm going to have realtor remarks at the bottom. If I need another field, we'll go ahead and put pool back on. I just move it to the right. I can put it in whatever order I want. And now when I go back to my quick, I'm always going to have pool and remarks at the bottom. So these are the fields the board has established on there, but you can put any fields you need to add it to your quick search. Or if you want to create your own search, under the create your own, you can add whatever fields you want there. There are some differences in searching. For example, if I want to select areas 101, 103, and 105, when I click, the other ones go away. If I want to pick multiple, I use my control key or my command key on a Mac, and I select multiple. If I want to take one that's lit off, if I just click on it, the others are going to go away. So again, I'll use my control key or my command key on a Mac, touch it, and it'll go away. Now, how would you have known that if you didn't come to class today? I'm going to show you a little secret. You have a friend with you throughout the search criteria. If you click on any of these question marks or hover over it, it's going to tell you the same thing I just told you. Or you can click on it and open up the help. So you do have help available on all the different fields. For example, if I come up here to price and I put in 500, that's exactly 500,000. Oh, let me take these off. So I have 500, that's exactly 500,000. Down here in the bottom left, you'll see I have 4 matches. That means there's 4 houses that are exactly 500,000 that are active. If I want 500,000 or more, what do you think I might do? Plus. So I'm going to go ahead and put a plus here, but I don't want you to watch me put the plus. I want you to watch the count on the fly down here. I'll tell you when I hit plus. I'm going to hit plus now, and there's 542. That's how quick Matrix is going to deliver results. I didn't tab out of the field. I didn't go to the next field. As I'm putting in information, it's going to give me my results. If I wanted 500,000 or less, what might I do? Minus. So I'll change the plus to a minus, and there's over 5,000 matches. And if I want to range, I'd put 500 to 700, for example. Let's do 800. 800, and there are 352 matches. So as you're putting in information, it's going to, again, tell you the count on the fly. So you can quickly see if there's some information you put in that broke your search or took you to 0 results. Now, how would you have known that if you didn't come to class? question mark. Right there's your help. You click on it and it tells you the same information. Now it's going to throw you a little bit in the very beginning because if I come down here to beds, for example, and I put in 5, that's exactly 5 beds. And there's 65. Now most clients don't care if they get extra beds for free, so if I went 5 or more, I do 5 plus, and I'm up to 75. So you need to keep in mind with your numeric fields, you need to use your the different, lost what I'm trying to think of. You're going to have to put the plus, the minus, the range, that type of thing, whether it's square feet or age you're built, or it's going to give you just the exact matches. Now there's another type of field, it's your text fields, the fields that people can type into. If I put in, let's say I'm looking for any of these houses that have the word short. Maybe I'm looking for any ones that are short sales. If I put asterisk short, asterisk, if anywhere in the remarks it has the word short, it would show me, in this case I have 0. If I don't want anything that includes the word short, I'd put an exclamation point in front of that, and that's not short, and we have our 75 matches. Right down here. And again, you have your question mark, which you can click on. That'll give you the same information. So there are some differences in what you do today with the is more, is less than, contains, that type of thing. But the reason Matrix uses the wildcards rather than those English words is you know how slow your searches run in your current system. It's because the system has to convert all that to language it understands. That's why you use the wildcards. And trust me, after a day of searching or the first couple searches you do, it'll become second nature. And as you can see, as you're typing in information, it's showing you the results that you have. Now you have your navigation buttons. Here's my criteria. If I want to see those listings on a map, I can click on the map. It'll show me where those listings are located. I can go to any of them and see a thumbnail view, which will give me pertinent information. I could link to the full listing right here. But typically from the map, you're going to go to results. On the results, this should be set up like your current results, so it should be fairly familiar to you. But again, you can look at your results in different views. I can come over here and I can go to the agent full view. If I want to use the agent full view to go from listing to listing, I can do that. And again, you can see how fast the system responds. You can go to any of the different reports. Remember the morning, the ugly one that we did earlier? There's my custom one. And it shows the information that we set up on the display. Once you get this set the way you want, a lot of agents are using the full display now because the system is so fast and they can see more information at once. If you want to change what your default is, the default is the single line. And you can change the single line to 50 per page, or if you have a small monitor, you may only want 10 per page. Whenever you get the results looking the way that you want to see them going forward, there's this little gear here. If you click on that gear, you can set the way you have your screen set as your default going forward. These fields can be moved if you want to move this field over here. If you want to add a field, you can click anywhere except where the word is. I can click on that field. I can remove a field. I can insert more fields. So you can work with how your display looks right from the results. And then you could save it as one of your custom ones if you wanted to. On your single line, you have your prominent results with the icons that you can get to more information. If you go to the full display, you'll notice you have more icons. So if you need an icon that's not on the single line, refer to the full display to see that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these icons. If you click on one of these, the first one is the photos. Here you can see the photos, and you can move from photo to photo with the big display. You can also look at the thumbnails, where you see the thumbnails of the images. Or you can go to the medium size, where you can see a larger photo and any comments that the agent put on the photos. So there's different ways to look at your listings. The images. The next one over is your maps. If I click on view on a map, it's going to show you where the property is on the map. You can zoom in, get a better look at the property, but there's a new feature in Matrix that you don't have available in your current system. It's called the Google Street View. If it's available, that'll be highlighted. I can click on it and see what the property looks like from the road. I can turn around and I can see what the property across the street looks like. I can walk through the neighborhood. That doesn't excite you guys? That's a pretty cool feature. Let me explain to you how neat it really is. When I was teaching in Austin a couple months ago, I pulled up this house. It was a beautiful home with these columns in the front. It looked like a plantation style home with the big porch with a couple settees, just gorgeous landscaping, everything else. I turned around and across the street was the freeway. If you had driven out there with a client to show them that property, what would 9 out of 10 of them have told you when you pulled up out front? Keep on going. I don't want to see the misery I'm going to be sitting in before I've had my coffee. I think this feature will really save you time, money, gas, driving out to properties. Not only do you have this Google view available to you, but your clients do from their portal too. So you and your clients can preview the properties before you go out to see them. So I think it's a pretty neat feature. The next one you come to are any documents that are attached to the listing. You can get to any of the documents. You can get to the history that'll show you the history of that listing anytime it's been in the system. Yes, it's available on your client's portal. The question was, do your clients see that Google Street View? Yes, it's available to them on their client portal. And you also have any open houses that are on the property. So you have most of your predominant ones here. If you need any additional ones, like if you go on the full, you'll have your tax, for example, where you can pull up the tax information, that type of thing. Okay. The question is, do your taxes show up for that county? It'll automatically find the listing no matter what county it's in. And if we could, let's hold the questions to the end and we'll go through any questions you have. So if you have any questions as we're going through, if you could just jot it down and ask it at the end. Okay, let's go back to the single line. And you'll notice down here on the single line, my button bar across the bottom here is kind of boring at this point. Once I start selecting listings, you'll see it's lighting up. First selection on my actions button bar is email. If I want to email these to one of my clients, I can go into email. And if I start typing in a client's name, it'll pull up the clients that match that and I can select them. Or if I start typing in an email address, it'll pull up any that match it. I can also go to 2, and if I had numerous clients, I could use my control key or my command key to select multiple ones. And when I click OK, it would send an email to all of them, but they'd each think it was just sent to them. They wouldn't see the other names. Or I could type in anyone's email address here. Keeping in mind, if they're not in my client database, they'll get those 4 listings I send them, but that's all they'll be able to do. If I get to this point and I want them to have the full functionality of the portal, right here, I can create a new contact. The contacts are first name, last name, and email address as a minimum. You have to have those 3. And as a side note, any of the contacts or clients you have in your current system, in order for them to come over into Matrix, they have to have a first name, a last name, and an email address. So if any of your current contacts don't have any of those 3 pieces, you should go in, clean them up, and then that night they'll come over into Matrix for you. There's additional fields that you can add for a contact, but as a minimum you have to have first name, last name, and email address. And then you would put in the subject of your email, and you'd hit send, and it would send those listings to whoever you sent them to. The next selection is print. If I go to print, it'll give me a list of the reports. I can select multiple reports. Let's say I want the agent single line, but I also want the client thumbnail. I use my control key or my command key on a Mac and select multiples. Here's where I have the option, if I want to have my header and footer if I've uploaded one appear on the reports. And if we go to preview, you'll see there's my header, there's my agent report, and here are my client thumbnails. And if I click this, I'll have my header, my agent report, my footer, and then my header will start on the next page with my client information. Now, I've told you guys numerous times that all emails go to the portal. But what if I need to get a confidential report to someone? I need to get it to my appraiser so they've got it. Or I need to get it to another agent. Or maybe I want to, again, send it to my mom so she can see my name on that $1 million listing. You can get any confidential report out of the system by going to print, and then you can print to PDF, and I'll have to get this turned on. You can also email the PDF. So again, if you just email someone, they're going to go to a portal. If you need to get a report that's not on the portal to someone, you go to print, and then you can email the PDF for that. It's done that way intentionally so you don't accidentally send a confidential report to someone that you didn't want to. You have to think before you send that type of email. The next button bar we have on the button bar is the CMA. This is where, if these were my comparables, I could take them and move them into the CMA wizard to do a presentation CMA. The next one's directions. Matrix does a really novel thing. It puts the listing in the quickest driving route, so you don't have to move them around into the quickest driving route. However, that doesn't always work for you folks because you have appointments, times that you need to be there. So you can quickly come over here and move them in whatever order you need to go. Something you guys like. You can also add a start, maybe your office or their home, or a stop. And if the stop's where you want to take them for lunch or whatever, it'll put it at the bottom. and again, you can slide it up and put it wherever you want. If you've changed the order, you need to regenerate the directions, and there's the directions from point to point. Those directions can then be emailed or printed. The next button we come to is stats. I'll go ahead and show you the stats, but this is giving you the minimum, maximum, average, and median for those properties. However, you've got a different stats button over here, the one-line CMA, which is pretty much the same information. However, it's going to include more information. I think it's more usable because it gives you the actual properties listed, the median, the minimum, maximum, and average. If I had different property type, different statuses like actives and solds, it would show me my averages for my actives, it would show me the averages for the solds, and then it would give me an overall statistic at the bottom. So they're both available to you, but I think the one-line CMA is a lot more informative. And the last button on the Actions button bar is Export. This is if I wanted to get the data out of the system so I could use it in another application. I could use the Export button. Under Refine, this is where if I only want to see my selected listings, I can come down and hit Narrow, and it'll take it down to just those listings. If I want to go back to see all the listings again, I come up here, it's hard to see, but I follow these breadcrumbs back to my original results, and it'll show me all of them again. Or I could hit the Browser Back button. The Browser Back button does work in Matrix. It'll take you back to the page you just came from, which I know excites a lot of you from the old. It doesn't take you home, it takes you back one page. However, very important, if I was on criteria and I came to results and I want to go to the criteria for these listings, I use the navigation buttons to go back to criteria. If I was on criteria, I went to results, and I clicked the back button on the browser to go back to criteria, I'd go back to criteria, but it'd be blank. So if you want the criteria from these results, use the navigation buttons, not the browser back button. There's also a neat feature here. In fact, let me do something real quick. I'm going to email these. To my client Jessica. Okay. Now we'll come back and we'll check some more listings again. There's another feature on the Refine button bar that most people don't know about. It's called View As. The point of this feature is if I'm getting ready to email these listings to one of my clients, and I want to see if my client has seen these listings already. If I do the View As, it's going to show me any listings that my client's already seen, any listing that's out on their portal. And if I had numerous clients, I could switch to another client and see if they've seen it. So you're not resending the same listings. You can check if that client has seen those listings or not. Under the Save button bar is where you'll save the search. It's saving the search, the entire search. It's not just saving the ones you have checked. It's saving all the listings that match. If I go to a new Save Search, type in a search name. Here I have the ability to save it as a favorite on my home page. Again, a saved search is only sitting in the system available for me to run anytime. It's not doing anything for me. Saving the criteria, and then I can go in and pull up the results at any given time. If I want the search to work for me, if I want it to be a new auto email, I use this Save button. When I click on it, now I have to put in a contact name. The person has to be a contact in order to be set up for auto notification. So if you get to this point, maybe you were on phone duty, the person told you what they were interested in, you did a search for them, and they said, you know, I want to start working with you. I want you to send me information. They're not already in your contact database. Right from this point, again, you can set them up in your contact database. If you do that, when they get the email, they'll have the full functionality of the portal and the auto notification will start. Under subject, this is very, very important. The subject is the name of the search. So whatever you type in subject is what's going to show up here. So in essence, don't put in subject, hi, or that'll be the name of their search. So whatever you put in here will be the name of the search. Under the welcome email, this is the email that they're going to get initially when they first get the email from you. It's going to, I'm going to have them populate a welcome message in there for you, or you can type in your own. The recurring email is when it finds matches after that initial time, what it's going to say. It's going to say one or more new updated listings match your search. And again, if you want to personalize it, you can type in anything, and that'll go out every time there's any updates to their search. As you're moving down, here's where you can enable concierge mode. Now notice the days of the week here. Look what happens when I turn on concierge mode. They go away. Can anyone tell me why they went away? The search is going to be running constantly, and it's going to notify me, the agent, immediately if any matches occur. It's up to me when the email goes to my clients, so you don't need the days of the week. When I put it in concierge mode, I can even check here to have it send me an email notification that I have listings waiting in concierge mode. If you have the email set up to your phone, you'll get the email on here, and while you're driving down the road, you can accept and reject listings. What? Oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking of Austin. I'm from Austin. Most of the time when we're driving down the road, we're sitting at a dead stop. You guys should pull over to the side of the road. But it just goes to show you, while you're sitting in front of a house waiting for a client to show up, you can be approving and rejecting listings on your phone for your other client. And here, if I saved it, the first thing it would do is show me all those listings and allow me to reject any of them that I want. Then I can accept the rest, and it'll go to my client. If I don't want the search in concierge mode, my days of the week come back. I can have the search run every morning. I can have the search run every afternoon. I can have it run morning and afternoon. Or I can just have it run, let's say my client told me they only have time to look at houses on the weekend, so I only want the search to run Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, if a listing comes on the market Monday and it sells on Wednesday, it wouldn't go out in my client's search. But you wouldn't want it to because it's no longer available. But if a listing comes on Tuesday, it'll go out in the Friday search if it's still available. So you have control over how often the search runs on a per search basis. And if I hit save on an auto email not in concierge mode, immediately it would send the email to my client with that search criteria. And the last selection we have on the button bars at the bottom is carts. If I wanted to put that in my client's cart, I want to put those two listings in Jessica's cart. I can add, and now Jessica's got 8 listings in her cart. So it's that quick if you're working with someone and you come across a listing you want to stick in another client's cart or their cart to select the different carts. All right, so those are actions. That's what we can do with the listings. Does anybody have any questions on any of those? Yes, ma'am. Carts, you have a cart for each one of your contacts, and you can have as many contacts in the system as you want. All right, let's go to a different kind of search. How many of you use the map search today? Search by map? Really? I thought every hand would go up. I think that's the neatest way to do searches. Let's go ahead and search, and let's set up a quick search, and we'll go to the map. When you first come to the map, your map's going to look something like this. It's going to be spread out, showing you the whole area. Put your map where you want your map to be, where you typically do your searches. Set it up the way you want to see it. And then you can come up here to this gear, and you can set that as your default. So every time you come in, you don't have to zoom the map. It's going to take you to your preferred spot. For any certain client, you can always move it wherever you need to. Let me get a different location. So you can move the map around, but it's going to initially go to the location you have set. You can draw 3 different shapes on the map. You can draw a radius, you can draw a rectangle, you can draw a polygon. To draw a radius, you'll go click on the radius, and let's say my client says this is where they're going to work, and they want to live within, 2 miles of their office. That'll set that shape and lock it in. This is also good when you're searching for comps, that type of thing. If you're looking at solds and you want everything within a mile of your subject property, that type of thing. The radius works the same as a circle. You'll click to start it, and then you'll draw the box however you need to. You'll click again. That'll set your shape and add that into your criteria. The polygon is multi-sided, so you can just click and make any shape you want to make. And I'm just going to come down here. Again, it can be as many points as you want. When you're done, oops, I didn't want to go way out there. That's all right. When you're done with the polygon, because it doesn't know if you're done or if you want to keep going or what you want to do, you need to go back to the red dot, click again, and it'll set the shape. Now the reason I drew this polygon, this such a weird thing, was to show you how many points you can do. You can make as many points as you want. But my client told me this is where they want to live, this whole area here. But they don't want to live along this highway. It's too noisy. So I can come up here and I can exclude this shape. Watch what happens to the houses that are within that shape. They go away. Oh, come on, guys. That's a really neat feature. Here, wait a minute. I'll explain it to you where you can understand it. They also told me that their mother-in-law lives right here, and she can walk half a mile. So for my clients, I can exclude that, and they can show them the results. See, now you see how cool it is. But you guys get the idea. You have this area that they want to live, but they tell you, you never tell them, there's this little pocket that they don't want to live in. You can take that area and take it out of their search results. It's really good for appraisers too. If there's a market that they need to pull out for their appraisal, they can pull that market out. And now that I've got all this information selected, I can go back to my criteria and I can add additional criteria. Right now I have 168 matches, My client told me they can only afford between 100 and 200,000, and that takes me down to 58 matches. So your map shapes and your criteria work hand in hand. I could have done my criteria first and then gone to the map. I like doing my map first and then putting my criteria because I can see how it's reducing my results. Now when I go to results, it's exactly the same as we did before. You have all your action buttons at the bottom. You can work with them any way you'd like. Or you can save that as that customer's auto notification. Make sense? All right. There's one other kind of search. It's called the speed bar. We talked about the speed bar earlier. In the speed bar, I can do things like if I'm looking for certain MLSs, I can type in 181539 space 58555 and 588042, and if I typed right, it should show me 3 results. Or I can go and I can type in an address. Let's say 2016 Wickshire. S-I. And if I typed right, it'll give me the information. This will show me any time that address has been on the market. This is really good to search for address here if you get that call from your client and they're sitting in front of a house with a for sale sign and they want to know how much the house is. If you search here and the listing isn't active anymore, it's sold or has a contract, it'll still pull it up. But it's not just for MLS and address searches because that wouldn't impress you guys very much, right? If I'm looking for active listings in zip code 73044 between 150 and 300,000, if I hit enter, there's 76 listings. If I want to know how many of them have 4+ beds and 2+ baths, that'll take me down to 20 listings. If I only want listings between 2,000 and 3,000 square feet, that'll take me down to 12 listings. I was going to say, this is pretty cool, guys. Remember, that's on your telephone. Think how easy that'll be from your telephone to put that information in instead of using that form and everything. The order of the criteria does not matter at all. I could have put the price first and then active and then the zip code, whatever. The only thing that matters is beds and baths. Beds has to be first, baths second, and they need to be together. Otherwise, I could put anything I wanted in the search bar in that order. Beds and baths have to be together. So
you can't just put beds?
You could just put baths. If I only care if it has 4 bedrooms, that's going to be the same. Let's do 3 or more bedrooms. Now I have 25. I don't have to put the baths. But how are you going to know how to do that? Question mark. Underneath the question mark, it's going to tell you all the things that you can do in the speed bar. But the speed bar isn't just for, oh, wait a minute, I'll also throw one in here and I'll show you how to do it. You can also create up to 10 of your own speed bar shortcuts. Not only the stuff that the board gives you originally, but you can build your own. For example, I'm a swimmer. I like a swimming pool. So in my search criteria, I built a speed bar shortcut, pool. So /POOL 4 of those have a pool. Maybe you want to set up a speed bar shortcut for one-story homes or waterfront homes or whatever you want. You can set up to 10 of your own speed bar shortcuts. Before I show you that though, I want to show you it's not only for listings. If I'm looking for an agent and I know his last name is Smith, type in Agent Smith and there's the Smiths. If I, let's say, know his first name starts with J, there, J asterisk, there's my, remember I used my wild card, anything starting with J, so there's all my J Smiths. Or if I'm looking for an office, and I know it's a Coldwell Banker office, I'm going to put part of the word in because I don't know if it has Coldwell North, Coldwell South. I'm just going to put Coldwell, and there's the Coldwell Banker offices. So right from the speed bar, you can pull up any of that information. Let's go and set up my own speed bar shortcut because you people seem to be excited about the speed bar. So when I go in to set up a speed bar shortcut, I'll just go into a search. When I'm setting up a speed bar shortcut, I don't want status because maybe sometime I'll want souls with a certain characteristics. So I blank out all the information. And let's say I'm looking for, do you guys have stories? Is that one of your fields? Levels, thank you. It's not under level. Let's see, is it under, whoops. What's it called? Property. Property level. I'm going to add that. I'm going to go back. So I'm looking for property level 1. Now I'm going to go to results, and you'll see I have over 5,000 matches because it's looking for any listing that has property level 1 in any status. So I'm going to go to results, and I'm going to go to save, and I'm going to save it as a speed bar shortcut. Leave that slash in the front. That's what makes it a speed bar shortcut. And I'll put 1. So now I've saved it. So when I go in to run a search, and let's say I want a bunch of listings. So I want 100,000 to 500,000 slash 1. Well, let me put it without. There's over 5,000 matches. Let's go down to 300. $200. Still over 5,000. Let's see how many are 1. Let's just put my pool in. P-O-O-L. Oh, I don't have active. I'm only looking for actives. I forgot. So there we go. So there's 106 listings that are active between 100 and 200,000 that have a pool on the property. Let's see if we change that to 1. There's 1,544 that are 1 story. So you can create your own speed bar shortcuts as you go. Do you guys have area? Let me look. If there's things that you guys need to search in here, if you get with your MLS, they can add anything in there that needs to be like area. I would really recommend, this is just a personal thing, that you get away from using areas. Because those are just arbitrary lines that have been drawn. You have a map search. You can really draw the shape that you want to define rather than area. There's one more feature I wanted to show you guys before we get into questions and answers.
Can you search by school history?
I don't think school district is part of it. Is school district a table-driven field here? Then it could be added, yes. Okay, I haven't saved any searches today, but the system automatically saves every search that I go to results on. It saves the last 50 searches or the last 7 days, whichever's less. If I come over here to recent searches and hit recent searches, here's the one we're currently running, the current price. Here's the ones that we ran for Colwell, Smith. If I view all 49, I can see searches that I ran last Thursday, and I can pull up the information. Let's find the ones that we were working with earlier today. Let's go back to the original one we were working on, and look what it did. Because I haven't logged out, it's taking me back to exactly where I was. It has the properties marked that I had marked. So this is good for if you're working on something and you get pulled to the side, you need to run another search, you can go back to continue working where you were. But like we looked here when I was under all the searches, here's a search that I ran last Tuesday. Because I don't have 50 searches, it's still on here. So when I click on that, it's going to take me back to that point. So if you were working with someone a couple days ago, you can go back, pull up that criteria, and see what currently matches. So it's a really neat feature to go back and rerun that search. It saves your criteria, it saves your shapes if you had shapes drawn on the map. It'll save all that information.
How many does it say?
Up to 50 searches or 7 days back, whichever is less. So there's the shape that we drew earlier. That's pretty much all the features. I'm going to open it up for questions.